Okay, so we have been talking about in class about why America has been so successful. And a large part of it has to do with our governing document, the Constitution. And we know that there's 7 articles in the Constitution. And the first one here sets up Congress and some of the powers that Congress has. And Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8, states that inventors in this country, people who are scientists, people who come up with ideas, and who patent those ideas will receive protection under the Constitution of those ideas for a set number of years. And what this has done is given people who have these ideas the initiative, the belief that if they come up with an idea, come up with some type of product or better way of doing something, that if they get a patent, those ideas will be protected. And if someone steals them, they can go seek retribution under the law. So, in the course of our history, as of 2018, we passed 10 million patents. And here, this is a patent that was sought by Elijah Gray, February 15th of 1876. It was patent number 173,618, and it is of a electroharmonic telegraph. And Gray was famous. He had also invented a telephone too, and he didn't quite get the patent in before Alexander Graham Bell, and there was a large legal battle that ensued. But Gray had been very innovative. He had really had multiple different patents involving telegraphs, and this is one of them. It would play different sounds and make communication better. He also had this next patent here was sought for in April 4th of 1893, and it was for it was like an early fax machine, and if you could make your signature, and banks would use it for signed documents over long periods of time. People could sign documents over long periods of distances, not periods of time. But this was patent 494,562. And here, this is kind of interesting too. You look back at his patent that he filed in 1876 was 173,618 right here. And so in the course of about 17 years, you have more than a doubling of the number of patents in that 17-year period, which is incredible. It took 100 years since the Constitution was ratified, went into effect really in 1789. But here we have in a little less than 100 years, it takes us to get to 173,618. And here, within the course of 17 years, you go to 494,562 patents. So the late 1800s was just an incredible time of innovation in this country. So again, fast forward a little bit more, here's another patent by Charles Edgerton. Charles Edgerton would have been he was a cousin of Elijah Gray, a second cousin of Elijah Gray. Here we have 899,961. That was the patent number, and this is 1908. So from 1893, to September 1908, 15-year period. Again, you almost have not quite a doubling, but almost another doubling of the number of patents in the course of the next 15 years. So not quite as many, but again, still a lot more patents. You don't have the 100% increase like you did, but you have a large number of patents being solicited in kind of a similar period of time. Another 10-year period, and you go to 1.26 million patents here in March of 1918. And these different devices, this one was for it was a digester, and he some type of application. I'm not really sure what it was for. And then this one was we're extracting grease from garbage. They had a patent he had put together. But the mainly thing is just to note the number of patents kind of coming out and how quickly they're coming out. Here we're going to jump forward. This is his grandson's patent. This is Philip Edgerton, 1981. So from 1918 to 1981, okay, a 73-year period. You go to 4.228 million patents that have been filed. So you have almost a quadrupling of the number of patents. Again, a huge number of patents being filed in this time period. And then this is just kind of a little bit of a side note. This next one is another one of Charles's grandsons was David Edgerton. He invented the flame broiler for Burger King. He was a co-founder of Burger King. I don't think he didn't get this patented. Couldn't find a patent for it, but it was obviously, a pretty well-known device, famous device that we're all aware of, and improved the effectiveness. He was Burger King's. They had bought out Burger King's device that was a heating element that would get caked up by the grease from the burgers dropping into them. So it was pretty awful, but this avoided that problem by having the heat, the jets of the would come in from the sides and down, and then the heat would rise up and heat the burgers, which we made it a much more effective system for for heating and cooking the food. This graph here, kind of, we get into the 21st century, and remember it was in 1876 we had 173,000 inventions during that first not quite 100 years of American history, and here in 2000 we have looks like a very similar number of inventions just in 1 year in this country, right here in the year 2000. Flash forward here to 2020, or the last 20 years, we've doubled that number again, more than doubled. We're up to 400,000 inventions in the year 2020. And again, it took us almost 100 years just to get to 173,000. Here we've more than doubled that number just in 1 year in 2020. So just the kind of the point that's being made here is just the sheer volume of inventions that have this country's is being filed into our U.S. Patent Office, and most likely these number of inventions are going to increase. Kind of going back to another point being made is just the fact that you have Mr. Gray here. I know Charles Edgerton would visit Elijah Gray as a boy, and the impact he must have had on Charles Edgerton. And the same goes for the grandsons. This is Philip Edgerton's patent was a thermal oxidizer. An industry has been created around this invention, and also, you know, the another grandson, David Edgerton's flame broiler, obviously had a big impact on America's fast food industry. But just kind of the history of this country's innovation, okay, you can see it just in one family, versus, you know, the entire country. You know, we had it was 2018 when we hit uh, 10 million inventions in this country. And obviously, we're probably going to be, you know, it's going to continue to go and continue to increase the amount of innovation in this country. So this exponential explosion of ideas and copy or patentable inventions is just continuing to expand. And so we get a sense of what the Constitution set up for this country. When the founding fathers met in the summer of 1787, they created this platform to enable this innovation to be to exponentially increase in this country. And this, I believe, is the largest influencer on America's success over the last more than 200 years. And without these inventions, without these ideas being protected, there's no way that we would have had achieved the success that we've had. So hopefully that gives you something to think about, and, you know, answer some of the questions that have been put forth in the lesson.